So let's get straight into it. Jarrod Best Michelle,
Lyndon Bradford,
sales is a profession, and I'm extremely energized this morning, as you can imagine, coming out from the sales conference that I attended.
Yeah, Jarrod has all the energy, all the stories this morning.
It was excellent. So what I want to talk about is the main thing behind it, which is it's so great to be among like-minded people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, no matter what field you are in, who follows us, you notice to be in a room of everybody thinks like
the same way, the same
doesn't matter if
energy.
we're thinking about the problems or the solutions, it's the same energy. It is insane.
While we're doing that, let's just ask, have any of you all that's joining the call or joined the call already, have any one of you all been to a conference of any type, whether it's a conference based on your profession or otherwise, and tell us what that experience was like?
Yeah, and share with us. And then and I even put in different examples. Like for example, today's Sunday, a lot of people go to church, and how you feel when they go to church? Energized, because everybody's like-minded.
Exactly.
Everybody's talking about the same thing. So that to me was like one of the best things that I really got out of it, which was fantastic for me. I really enjoyed just talking to so many different people, so many different professions. And my yellow blazers are hit. I'm going with the next yellow blazer next year like that. Like Mark Hunter kept asking me like several times, show the
for the blazer.
For the blazer. I feel like I'll make one because he's very tall. Like Mark Hunter is like my brother's height. He's 6'4".
Right.
But I mean, just talking about it, guys, is like the purpose of going on conference to me was to expand my knowledge. And again, it really hit it because again, it expanded my knowledge in several ways. Not only were the speakers amazing in terms of what they spoke about, but again, the attendees, I think, like when they spoke about, like I met a girl, they had a small little park area outside where we were in the conference, and she was just walking around in circles. Mm-hmm. So I watched her the first time. I was like, okay, she walked once, all right. She walked twice. I said, okay. Third time, I said, cool. Let me walk downstairs because something has to be going on. So I walked downstairs and I immediately said, hey, hi, how are you? I'm just interested in why you're walking, so I'd love to just join you. She's like, well, hi, I do landscaping for a living and I'm always on my feet. So sitting down in the conference is kind of weird. So as we have the break, I'm trying to walk because it was kind of cold in the conference that day. And it's just to get the legs and stuff stretching. So I said, great. And we just started to have a conversation. Correct. And my first question to her was, how do you sell landscape services? Because to me, my mind was, that's just really different. But again, she broke it down, and the way she broke it down was exactly how you do any sales job.
Value.
She was like, value. So she said they do such a good job getting their competitors' business that the clients actually say, I see you more than I actually see my own account manager. So she actually spoke about, listen, we go into accounts that we want to target. So for example, we next out to National Stadium. So they already know, like the Georgia Stadium is a huge area. So they already broke it down and said, all right, this is what we actually do. We know that there are these 3 contractors that actually handle the entire area.
Right.
So what we do is that we go after either the smallest or the biggest one in terms of what we know that we could actually improve. And that to me was really significant because it's literally just taking off some notifications. It's literally her just saying, listen, we identified what we could do, and to be honest, landscaping is actually a benefit because a good thing with it is that remember you can actually see what's wrong.
Yes.
That's a great benefit for them. Right. So they were able to actually go to clients and say, listen, we actually just did a quick audit of the area. We just noticed a couple of things that you should actually be fixing. And not only that too, they said we gave them the solution. It's like you should actually be doing this. What happened then? The client just called them back and said, listen, we've had our existing person for like 5 years and they have never told us that.
Right.
Not only that, what she also said is that they don't only give them information on the landscaping because they have experience in building maintenance with different persons. Right. They share with them and say, listen, we notice you have this and this issue. And do you know that sometimes they have fines allocated towards this if it is a thing that they do see it? Here's what, I'm just sending you a number of this guy. He's the #1 person in the area for this. You should give him a call, so he should probably give you more information. I'm just telling you what I've observed.
Right.
So think about it. They're offering information to their clients without, and I think that's one important. They're offering information to customers without any obligation.
Yeah, so there's no obligation to buy, but at the same time, she also didn't pitch her services.
No.
She added value by getting the customer aware as to things that they can fix, and also mitigating any fines or penalties that they could.
Exactly. So I'm saving you money and I'm giving you knowledge. Full stop. right?
To check this, right? So in relation to going, so where we started, we were talking about the conference initially, or the conference experience, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, let me ask you. So I mean, we do sales. We've been doing sales for over 15 years. Why do you think that you needed to go to a sales conference?
No matter what field you're in, you should never stop learning. Full stop. I don't care what it is. You should never ever stop learning. I don't care what business you're in. Alright, let's look at a perfect thing. You could have been a mechanic all your life. You know why you need to upgrade your skills right now? Because they are hybrid vehicles, they're electric vehicles, and they run differently.
That's correct.
So if you stay stubborn thinking that, you know what, this is what I'm going to do, then you're going to run into problems. If you're in HR and you don't know any of the automated HR systems that are in place, and you don't have a qualification or at least a certification or some kind of knowledge in it, you're going to run into problems. Because things are changing.
And then at the same, so correct. So to add to your point of the last point of things are changing, things are always going to be redeveloped legislation-wise, in industrial relations-wise. So the reason why I asked Jarrod that point is because while I was at Massey for that 10-year period, I went to a number of different conferences, even though we were selling copiers for however long. And it wasn't just because it was a new copier. It was always about, getting new information, whether it's about your product, your competitors, your skill set, improving your skill set in terms of how do you sell these new bits of technology. And also we got to see some additional vendors, and the vendors themselves actually gave us the ability to understand what we do and how important it was. So let me ask you this question. What was your energy level during the conference and of course after the conference?
Alright, so here's the
What
way
did you get from it?
Here's the weird thing. When I usually sit down for a long period of time, it's hard for me not to fall asleep.
Right.
That didn't happen in the conference.
Right.
Because I actually had this one speaker who was just kind of off, but everybody else, like the energy level that you got from what they were presenting and what they were talking about, you literally grew to every single
Right.
And that to me was amazing. So they really had like an excellent balance in terms of the speakers. But again, the kind of knowledge. So like there's a lady called Andrea Francis. I have to double check her name. Funny enough, one of us because at the conference is Andrea.
Yes.
But Andrea spoke about her business is focused on getting no's. Because, and remember, we always speak about no's, but here's her concept. When you get more no's, remember the concept is the more no's you get, you're closer to yes. So her thing was, let's aim for 100 no's. And when she first started doing that, her business quadrupled. So she started, and she said it reached a point where they were saying, hey, X and Y customer just closed. She's like, great, we still have 68 more no's to get. Because they know when they got those no's, because of all the business they were going after, that they were actually getting more business. Because it means that they had a certain amount of activity going on.
And the activity, what she did, because everybody was going in, I can only assume this, right? So I see it as a psychological thing, like in relation to the team. So the team got so pumped of getting a no that they were willing to accept rejection.
No willing.
You understand? So let me see how many rejections we can get this. So the rejections was the goal.
Yeah.
So when you get a yes, the yes was your odds, so you put it in your bucket.
I would recommend her book for anybody in insurance.
Yeah.
Because based on how she spoke, immediately first thought in my head was insurance agents. Because the amount of no's that they sometimes have to go through, which I think is higher than other fields. But guys, like, the other thing which actually had me really excited, and I heard it before from a lady called Jill Conrath, which is what Mike Weinberg was talking about on the stage. And this to anybody out there who have a business. If you are not involved in the RFP, do not bid. It sounds weird, because I know we see RFPs out there might be tailored to your services, but if you weren't involved in helping craft the RFP, don't be in it, because the person who have crafted it is the one who's going to get it.
Right.
The people who were in actually that room, so they were talking about all those different experiences. It was so, I don't know, boy, like they spoke about social selling. So the funny thing is, right, Mike Weinberg and Anthony Iannarino, you know, they always battle back and forth with Daniel Disney. So they talked about it on stage without bringing up his name. So their battle and their issue was, and Morning Only Caterers, their battle and their issue was, they strongly believe in two things, and one main thing. If you don't have a fat pipeline, you have no sales. So if you're not consistently prospecting every day, you're gonna run into problems.
That's correct.
Even Jeb spoke about that in his in his thing, he said it had a point where he was doing the most sales the company has ever seen in its history when he was younger in sales. Yet he presented he said he hit his quarterly target in the first month.
Wow.
So he said when he met with the upper management and everything of the team, they came in to ask him, well, what's going on for the next quarter? He showed them 0 because he hit his pipeline. He said his boss roasted him in the meeting, and he went to him and got upset and he said, that's unfair, I'm the top performer, but at the end of the day, your pipeline is your bloodline.
Exactly.
Think about it, if your heart isn't beating, you're gonna die. You need to consistently have stuff pumping through there. If there's no blood pumping, you're gonna run into problems. So that to me is one of the other big takeaways. They know, and the fact that pipeline is everything. Like if you don't, like we are all in sales, and if it is that your target is 10, based on, actually no, let me give you the exact breakdown. You need 88 contacts to create 34 leads that will eventually turn into 10 sales. That is a given mathematical qualification. So if it is that you don't actually have that in place, you're running into problems.
So we're saying that. So then basically you're saying to the questions is that the information that you got was practical, it was relevant, and it impacted you in relation to, some of it was validated and some of it was brand new.
So a lot of it was validated, and a lot of it was excellent in terms of brand new.
Right.
So a lot of it was validated because it got me, it kind of showed yourself from a different perspective.
Right.
So it's like, yes, I do this, but I kind of need to just tweak one little aspect behind it in order to do it. So, I mean, it really, it just emphasized it a bit more that I am on the right path. You just have to tweak a couple more things just to keep on pushing in terms of what you're doing.
And those are the things that you normally get when you go to conferences. Even if it's meetings around like-minded people, it can just be 4 of you all.
Yeah.
Right? Once you all collectively come together, whether it's a big conference with 100 people or a small table or your sales team, once everybody is like-minded, so if it is that we now stick into the theme of what the subject matter is today or what we're discussing, like-mindedness gives you the right energy, gives you the right focus, gives you the right mental context as to what you need to be doing, where it is you might be going wrong, how is it you can actually improve.
Correct.
Right? And that actually sometimes gives you the right energy, drive, and pump. Now, if we were to spin that into, not just from a conference standpoint, sales teams need to have an environment of like-mindedness.
Yeah,
right?
Very true.
But a lot of sales teams do not have that environment of like-mindedness, and that's a little bit comes from the leadership, because in most sales organizations, they drive a lot on the numbers. There's not a lot of inspiration,
and there's a lot of unfriendly competitiveness.
Exactly.
So remember when we were in the digital, the competition was
tight,
insanely
heavy.
friendly. It was a point where it was ridiculous because it was just boasting, right? You wanted at the end of the day. So, because I remember I would bring in Randy and other guys, hey, help me now, just trying to close this account, I can't figure out what I'm doing wrong.
Right.
And Randy, once at the time, would come in and join me in the meeting. And so, like, when you talk about like-mindedness, one of the things from the conference which I observed too was that, yes, it was sad that some people stayed within their company, because some people came with their company and they stayed, but a lot of persons, including me, I just walked on and shook people's hands and introduced myself.
Correct. So
from the time you said something about my place, I stopped, I asked you about you, what's happening, and I added you on LinkedIn and we had a conversation after.
Right.
But you don't need to go a conference necessarily. What we are saying is that, and what I highly recommend is that no matter what field you're in, if it is that you aren't talking to other people in your field on a monthly basis or weekly basis, even if it's a phone call or WhatsApp group, more importantly, if it is that you're not trying to connect with the top persons in your field, in the country or in the region or in the world, then you're kind of missing out in terms of how you're building yourself.
That's correct.
And I think that's what's really important at the end of the day, because I saw so many people, like the amount of times I sat down at different tables and had discussions with a group of persons, like it was just absolutely amazing, because they started asking, of course, it's the usual thing. Hey, hi, I'm Jarrod. What do you do?
Right.
Where I'm from? Where you're from? And again, my question was, what's your biggest challenge right now in sales? Right? And again, it still brought about the same problem, but you saw it from somebody else's different perspective.
Exactly.
Right? So even then, when I spoke to Mike Weinberg, because he was talking about the perspective, and I asked him a simple thing. I said, Mike, here's my question. In my country, there are 2 telecom providers. So I was giving him the example from Digicel before. There are 2 telecom providers, and it's Digicel, Mobile, and a lot of the companies are saturated. They know they have been visited, they have been contacted by somebody already. What do you do in a case like that? And he said, All right, that's a toughie. That's different, and that's great because imagining in somebody of that expert level, and he's saying, "I'll need a little more information," so we definitely have to talk about it. But he said, "My first thing will be is to audit what I've said before and change my message to the narrative now." So again, and even when you speak to, even when you speak to persons who have been in the business for a long while, and again, that was the great thing. You saw a lot of persons just sitting down talking, and either they were doing deals or they were exchanging information and trying to learn. And that's why I keep talking about, like, I highly recommend to anybody, and they always call it like a mastermind group. Find 3 or 4 persons, preferably find one who's better, who's top performing, find one who's in a different field, but find persons who are in different fields similar to what you all do, and get together so you all can actually have like the right conversations in terms of what's happening in your market right now, and then what it is that you can actually do about it. Hey, morning Ishmael, because like I remember this, like Gary Vaynerchuk started something in South by Southwest, and I think they're doing up to this day. So every year in South by Southwest, like all the top innovators, so like the CEOs of the top companies and everything like that, they actually meet in a hotel room, like in the bathroom of a hotel room, some weird thing, and they just sit down and discuss what's happening now and what they see being the next thing. So again, look at those guys on those levels just sharing ideas, talking different concepts. So imagine you are able to learn from people in a different field. So you really need to start linking with different places.
And I'll tell you why that's. As I say, I've been to a number of different conferences, so I know the energy that I get from it. I know the learnings. Exactly what you said. You have people. You would think that, okay, well, I'm in Trinidad and these are my unique experiences, until you go out there and you hear people saying the same thing. You say, wait a minute, they're in the US or they're in Canada, unique. They're in Puerto Rico, and they are, in some instances, I've heard worse stories or worse experiences that I was actually experiencing.
Let me interrupt you. You know what stat I saw and I laughed at?
What was that?
Because I was like, I saw some people nodding their heads. I'm like, you're fucking serious? Here's the only stat that threw me off, right? Here's the only stat that threw me off. Colette, I can't remember her name. She was Colette, I can't remember her name, but she was actually speaking about how much easier it is to close clients. Like, alright, so say a client calls in for a lead. She said persons that call within 48 hours are able to close 22% of those leads.
Alright.
And my first thought was, you taking 48 hours to call a lead?
Right.
And then she said persons who call within 1 hour, it increases to 78%. And I saw people only come down in their head, and I'm like, you can't now think about this. Like, I know that. I know anytime somebody calls you, you call them back immediately. Because that is such an easy. I was in shock. That was the only stat that I saw, and I was like, I don't wait 48 hours. But that's not anything. So sorry.
So to continue the point there, I've been to even small meetings, 7 o'clock at night, a group of other businessmen, and what is it that they're talking about? Business. Some of these men, if I call some of the names, which I wouldn't do, they have established businesses throughout Trinidad and Tobago. But what are they talking about? Growing their business. Making more money, adding more services. You understand? So if it is that we are just going home to work and not having a group, as I say, one of my best teams was Carlos Cadiz from LinkedIn. Right? Myself, Thoko Zile, Matthew, Noel from Trinidad Automobiles. Company wasn't the best company, but that team was one of the best teams I ever worked on. You know why? Because we spoke to each other every day, every other day, and we were always talking about what is it that we did, how the call went, what technique that we used that was successful, and it just grew. So we all came to a point where we were saying the same thing. So like-mindedness builds your energy, it builds your strength. You know, it builds you, because when I might think Carlos might be much stronger than me, I'm hearing Carlos saying, hey Lyndon, I like how you actually made that call, I'm going to take that from you. And I say, but you fix up. You understand? So that's why conferences are so important. That's why particular certain sessions and meetings are so important, because you want to be able to build and energize, grow your knowledge, and get the right energies to continue that. And that's why a weekly sales meeting should have those things, because you want to have your team pumping the next day.
Right, true, So that's just my little takeaway from it, guys. I can honestly tell you that, like, the first day alone, if you're watching my stories on my personal page, was the absolute best. I tell you, I still getting like My pause raised when I keep talking, when Anthony recognized me and said, I know you, I know this face, you're Jarrod. You're the one who's doing the conference. And I'm there like, don't do my that now, don't do my that. I was like, literally, just get red and flush in the face. Like, trust me guys, like, if you're not looking to expand and talk to different persons in your field, and let me tell you the simplest thing, it's just like sales. Reach out to those persons. The most they're gonna tell you is no. And I'm sure there's not just one person in your industry who's leading. So don't limit yourself.
That's correct.
Right? Try and reach out to as many people as possible. People are always willing to offer. Like the same t-shirt I'm wearing, Make It Happen, is John Barrows. You can message John Barrows and ask him different stuff. And he either refer you to what he already built out.
That's correct.
Or he'll tell you, I just did a podcast on this. I did a podcast on that some weeks ago. Check it out in my list. You'll see they're listed on the podcast.
I think Curtis had mentioned something really in relation to the conference. He said
no, he was saying, the conference is awesome because they have great knowledge and experiences and it's great for networking. Yeah. I added, like, as I say, it's minimum, I think about between 20 to about 30 persons on my LinkedIn.
You know what I think is something that, I mean, maybe you and I could actually explore, because the fact that because we always want to add more value, especially when it comes to our mixers.
Yeah.
Doing the mixing in such a way that everyone leaves thinking, hey, not just that I have to come to this next mixer, but I need to use the information from this mixer.
Yep.
You understand? To put in place the next day. So let's put that into what we want to do for June this year.
Well, wait, are we doing a mixer before the conference?
You know, we had to sit down, we had a plan.
Let us think about that. But yeah, so let's go in as we wrap up about our conference, guys. So yeah, so overall right now we've reached 10 speakers.
Yes.
Does that include the final speaker we added?
Possibly we'll have to sort of.
I have to cross fingers on that. So that's to tell you guys, 10 speakers. And just a quick thing, I know we've gotten a lot of persons who are registering. Make sure that registering doesn't mean you're in the conference. Paying, make sure that you're in the conference. So if you haven't gone onto the final page where you pay or deposit direct to the account, then that doesn't mean any conference. You just give us your registration information. So we will touch base with you later this week. Mm-hmm. But again, how we have the conference structured is that it's entirely like a pipeline, and these 10 speakers are going to be talking on different aspects of it. Lyndon is presenting. I'll be doing a lot of just fun talking in between, but Lyndon is presenting. We have a lot of the other different speakers there who are hitting on their topics, and we're super excited in terms of what we're going to present for you guys today. Well, on the 18th.
On the 18th. What is it? And pay attention to the sites, pay attention to all the social media platforms. You're going to actually start to see a lot more activity from myself, a lot more activity from Jarrod, excuse me, and also from the pages in relation as to who these speakers are, and now we're going to start giving you insights as to what they're going to be talking about.
Yep.
Right? Don't be surprised you actually see us having conversations with some of the speakers themselves. And the good thing is that the speakers aren't, all the speakers are just like you and I.
Yeah.
Right? Jimmy from Honda. Stefan from Sajiko. And guess what? Stefan he was rookie of the year last year. So we are talking about bringing this high person, we're bringing somebody that you can relate with. That's one of your colleagues that you can sit down and you can say after the session, you can sit down with Stefan and say, hey, definitely, how did you go about doing that?
Exactly.
And he's going to be sharing that with you. Same thing for Jimmy.
Can I say this is something I'm going to push it to our speakers, which is something that I loved? In the conference on both days, everybody was accessible. All the speakers, they were walking around in the audience.
Engaging.
Mark Hunter was walking around making sure people saw it, because people had to stand in the back, you know.
Wow.
They had to bring extra tables during the break. Mark Hunter was in between trying to get people to the front because it had some seat spaces. Right. So they weren't just leaving stuff to other people, they were there. Yeah. I tell you, think about it, guys. Like, imagine somebody who you admire, like you have their book and you're able to just have a full conversation. Not just to say, hey, I just want to take a picture. No, a full conversation. And nothing gets better than that. Nothing, no matter what feeling, it's like in that aspect, you just have a great day, right? Good conversation. Yes.
You're welcome.
Faculty films. So yeah, so to me, that's one of the main things. So I'm extremely excited for what we're going to be doing in the next 2 months. And I think for those of you who are interested, I have a lot of people who are telling me this, I'm going to try and make it. And you know me, try is a negative word. Yeah. I hope to make it. Hope is a negative word. Just say you're coming to the conference.
Yeah, all of those words are exit strategies. Those are words to say, but I couldn't make it again.
Yeah. So for me, and here's the thing, guys, we will talk about it, but I'm telling you, there's no love lost. We're going to be doing our weekly videos straight up. We're going to be doing our weekly videos straight after. We're going to continuously provide the value because that's what we're here for. The conference is just a tool where it's kind of like the climax in terms of everything in every year that we want to start bringing together the top persons and start creating that community because we know you want to see the knowledge on a larger scale and you want to leave you all even more energized than you were before.
Yeah, remember the goal of the conference is to build your skill set, build the sales community, so that we want you to use that as your own networking as well.
Yep.
So you have different people from different industries there, send it out, reach out to them, take their information, don't just take the call card.
Yep.
You understand? Exchange, talk, say, listen, how can we sit down together, maybe sometime come here and have a coffee or whatever it is, but build your network, guys, because those things help you grow.
Yep.
You never know, you might actually change where you are now to go where they are later on.
You never know. So that's just it for us this week. I'm still on a high from this conference because it makes me want to act out and do so many things. Actually, I sent him like a very long email last night, right? Night before.
Yeah.
So this is just us for this week. As usual, if you have any questions, if you want to talk sales, Lyndon and I are always here. My price is coffee, Lyndon owns water, and we're here just to talk sales. Alright?
Alright, guys.
Have a good one.
Peace.